بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
وحدثنا علي بن حجر حدثنا يزيد بن هارون حدثنا عباد ابن منصور عن إكرمة عن ابن عباس رضي الله عنهما قال كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يكتحل قبل أن ينام بالإثمد ثلاث في كل عين. Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu in another narration says that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he used to put ithmid in his eyes before he would go to sleep, 3 lines in each eye. قال يزيد بن هارون في حديثه إن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم كانت له مكحلة يكتحل منها عند النوم ثلاثا في كل عين. And Yazid ibn Harun says the same thing, that the Prophet ﷺ had a container. He would keep his ithmid inside of that and he would use that. Another important point about this hadith. The important point about this hadith is, my dear brothers and sisters, sometimes when people think about the Prophet ﷺ, they think, somebody of complete zuhud. Or they think about the Sahaba radiallahu anhum. They think about a person who's completely detached from this world, doesn't take medicine, doesn't eat properly, doesn't sleep properly. Look at that. The Prophet ﷺ's every aspect of his life was so organized. And it was so scheduled. The Prophet would take care of his health. The Prophet would brush his teeth. He would put ithmid in his eyes. He would make wudu before he would sleep. He would use perfume. He would take bath regularly. He would cut his armpit hairs and his pubic hairs. And that chapter is going to be coming. Right? He would take care of himself. Now, it's like a complete different concept. You got people, hair growing out of their ears, God knows what, tree branch growing out of their nose. Man, cut your hair. Take care of yourself. Use medicine, use vitamins, exercise. These are things that the Prophet ﷺ taught. Taking care of yourself. This is a very, very important thing, which is the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. Seriously, man, people just don't even know how to know the person not brushing his teeth. Wonderful, you're pious, but if you brush your teeth, it's not going to take away from your piety, brother. I promise. If you use perfume, if you use, this, cutting in it, a lot of people don't know. A lot of men don't know, right? Cutting of the armpit hair. This is a sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, and it is something of cleanliness, so that your armpits don't smell. Using deodorant, yes, mashallah, it's very good. It's not haram, trust me. It goes in the category of itr. It goes in the category of taking care of your body. Self-help, self-care was very important to the Prophet ﷺ. Imagine, this is something, كَانَتْ لَهُ مُخْحُلَةٌ. This tells you something. A person who had no attachment to the world, but he had a surma container. This is something of, have you seen a surma container? These are artifacts that are saved in museums. They're very immaculate things. They make them very beautiful. They make them very immaculate. I actually went to a store in Medina Munawwara and they had these beautiful, and I said, what is this? So he said, mukhula. Beautiful containers where they have things that, where you actually use it for the surma. The Prophet ﷺ owned one of these. Because we have this concept, the Prophet wouldn't take care of himself. He was in the top fitness, physical fitness. He would eat the best food. He would live the best. He would drink the best. He took care of his body and he had a mukhula. What is that? Having a mukhula, right? It's almost something of it's like a, what would you say? Like an accessory. A person who's so distant from dunya, he shouldn't own such a thing. But he did. Because these were things that, Haji Imdadullah Muhajir Makki rahmatullah alayhi, one of our mashayikh, the shaykh of our mashayikh, Haji Imdadullah, he said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you a body. And this is a machine that Allah gave you. If you don't oil this machine, if you don't take care of this machine, if you don't oil change this machine, if you don't tune it up from time to time, keep it strong, give it good food, take care of it. If you're going to abuse it, if you're going to hurt it, if you're going to keep it dirty, if you're going to keep it nasty, then Allah will ask you that I gave you this amanat. Why did you make khiyanat? The way we eat, the way we live, our habits, our lifestyle choices. We need to live properly. We need to eat properly. All of this we learn from a simple thing that the Prophet ﷺ used to keep a mukhula. He used to keep an intimate container. That says something about the akhlaq of a person, right? Doesn't it? Doesn't that tell you about something? What is this? Oh, this is where he used to keep his perfume. Oh, okay. Meaning he was a classy person. He wasn't just a person that liked to smell. No, he liked to smell good. he liked that his eyes be in good condition. And he would do that 3 times in this eye and 3 times in this. Look at the diligency, with what care, with what concern. 3 times in the right eye, 3 times in the left eye. Like very like, you would be like, men don't do this. You know, men, they got that grungy stuff in their eyes. Okay, if you say so. Men walk around with cornflakes in their eyes, you know. No, they don't. Right? This is the men of all men. This is the men of all men. How he kept himself. Subhanallah. Sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. So this is the small subtle things that we learn from the little practices of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. وَكَانَتْ لَهُ مُكْحُلَةٌ يَكْتَحِلُ مِنْهَا عِنْدَ النَّوْمِ ثَلَاثًا فِي كُلِّ عَيْنٍ. I was reading Tabaqat al-Hanabila. It's a very interesting book on the biographies of the Hanbali scholars. So he mentioned something interesting. He said, one of the Hanbali Huffaz al-Hadith, he says that before I go to sleep, there is 25 sunnats that I apply before going to sleep. 25 sunnats that I apply. I have actually taken note of them. That these are the 25 specific things that the Prophet ﷺ used to do diligently before he would go to sleep. Imagine. Yani, his sleeping was with such organization. It was scheduled. And it had such perfection, you know, in what he used to do. He was not a normal person. Even in how he lived as a human being, not as a prophet, as a human being, with what perfection, with what organization, with what diligence, with what care. Because this is the body that Allah Ta'ala has given. How he would take care of it it is just a haqq that you're fulfilling of the amanat that Allah gave you. This is the right of fulfilling the amanat that Allah Ta'ala gave you. And as Haji Imdadullah said, that if you don't take care of this body and you abuse it and you don't take care of it, and by age 45 you're already bent and your back is already hurting, then this is a problem. Allah will ask you about that. You did it to yourself. You did it to yourself. Sometimes I talk, you know, with Dr. Habib, cardiologist. Very wonderful, pious man and a doctor. He tells me, he says everything on one side. He said, but our inactivity, just we're not active. We're not taking care of our bodies and the way we live, our lifestyles, what we eat. You know, if you're eating food and there's 3 inches of oil standing on top of the food, maybe that's not healthy for you. You know, 3 inches, you know, you count it, you put the, you know, when they measure the snow, they put those things inside and it tells you how many feet. Okay, put a little, you know, don't do it in front of your wife, but put like a ruler inside of put a ruler in that sucker, right? In that dig. See, there's like 3 inches of oil on this, honey. You know, maybe we need to get an oil change. Say bilis Rughan bolay sarazu. Allahu Akbar. This ain't Rughan from Afghanistan. You know, the original organic stuff. This is like, you know, made in Fresno factory type of oil. You know what I'm talking about? It's highly toxic things. So if you got stuff like that, then your life is, you know, it's going to mess you up.